The opinions you're about to hear on this show are strictly those of the panel.
Today's digital landscape with the spread of false information can lead to dangerous outcomes. It's crucial for everyone to think critically and verify sources and reflect on the impact of what they share. Let's promote responsible communication to ensure that truth prevails and actions remain rooted in reality.
The following program is rated TV MA-LSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Well, hello everyone. Thank you for joining me. Tonight I thought I would bring up some of the things that have been out for many years, I guess, a couple of years at least. Some of it, and some of it's been out for longer than that. Because Julie Bryant and Virginia Giuffre have been talking about a lot of things that happened to them on the Epstein Island and at his New York residence, and also in New Mexico and on his plane for many years. And people are going on and on and on about how they're covering everything up and they won't let the names out. When you have to do is listen to some of the victims. You can find out information that you want to know. Because isn't it the victims that we want justice for? I want to see people go to jail too. But we have to realize, as I'm going to show later in the show, some of these women took money. They took settlements to get what they felt they needed to get. And if they took money, then I don't know if you can take some of these people to court. Unless you're a lawyer and you can tell me and explain that to me, I'd like to know. And I'm sure many other people would like to know. Get on your websites and start telling people if they took money, whether or not you can still prosecute them. I don't know. But the thing is that there's tons and tons of evidence out there, and from the victims themselves that have been paid settlements. And we still also have a woman that's in prison right now for trafficking. So we have plenty of stuff pointing in the right direction. It's just that people are running around like chickens with their head cut off thinking, oh, this person's covering, that person's covering, nobody's telling the truth, blah, blah, blah. Well, I listen to the victims, and I've been sharing little bit here and there on all the different shows, talking about the different victims and different things that they've done and what they've talked about. And some of them are not with us anymore. Supposedly they committed suicide or in bad accidents, things like that. It's very interesting, but not before they went out and told their stories. And it's documented. And later I'm going to share a Rumble site. His name is, hold on, let me look at his name real quick. Darn it, I'm terrible with this stuff. I don't have a person to do all my reading of information. His name is Mouth Buddha or something like that on Rumble. And his whole Rumble page looks like nothing but Clinton stuff, Comet Ping Pong stuff, Epstein stuff, tons and tons. hours and hours and hours of videos for you, the person who thinks that nothing is come out and they're hiding everything, with plenty of stuff on there for you to look up for yourself. But what's interesting is how, like I said, way early in the year, after Trump was in, and they were talking about releasing the Epstein files or whatever they were going to be doing. And it seemed like it was one mistake after the next that they were making. And I said that it seemed very obvious that they're making so many mistakes, that it seemed like they were doing it on purpose. Maybe they were doing it to piss people off enough to get the Democrats to start shouting at the top of their lungs, release it, release it. Because a lot of the people that were yelling and screaming didn't realize how deep a lot of Democrats were in it. So to their own detriment, basically. And there's a few places you can go and get that kind of information and find out about it. But I'm going to start off with a couple of short, like TikToks and some stuff like that with people sharing it, because it's everywhere. So you can't go to any platform and not find something that you can bookmark and go back and watch later, and then take tidbits out, names, information, websites, and go look it up yourself. Become your own Anon. Start looking for stuff if you want to know facts or know more information about whatever it is that you saw or listen to. But here, real quickly, let me see who's in the chat real quickly. I saw that I had a couple things up here. Hi, Jackie. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I wish you were right here next to me or on your computer so you could pull up some of this stuff. But it gets very hard for people. People don't realize that when you have 20 different websites open and ready to bring up, and if you have one not in order, it messes up everything. It's just very complicated. It's a lot of work. That's why a lot of people just go off the cuff and just talk about stuff, and they don't really present anything, because it's really hard. And when you don't have a producer or whatever that pulls up everything for you and shares it with their people and interacts with your chat and stuff, you have to do all of it. So I do the best I can. I don't make any money. I'm not a paid whatever promoter or whatever you want to call it. I'm just a person that loves this country, and I hate people pointing the finger at everybody but themselves, because you yourself can research stuff too. If you have a computer or a phone, you can look up anything you want. There is no law that says you can't look it up. So if you want to know something or get some information, guess what? You can look it up. Yes, my leg is feeling a lot better. I got to take off the big bandage and take a shower, which was great. But I can't take a bubble bath for over 2 weeks. And next week I had to go and have another ultrasound to make sure I don't have any blood clots and stuff from the procedure they did. But I am having to wear thigh high stockings that hold everything really tight, and I have to wear those for 2 weeks. So to make sure everything's healing properly and the veins are staying where they're supposed to and that kind of stuff. But I haven't taken any drugs at all. The only drug I took was the Valium that they gave me when I showed up to have the procedure done. So I think I'm doing pretty good. I just get up and walk and do dishes. I've done all kinds of stuff today. I gathered eggs. I walked my property. Stuff. I had to do it slower because my ankle is so sore. But it was swelling and stuff, and I wanted to fix it before it got really bad. And if you don't fix stuff when you're young, go to the doctor and do checkups and do all that preventative stuff, by the time you're in your 70s and 80s, you're going to end up being in a wheelchair and stuff. My grandmother on my dad's side of the family was over 100 when she died, and she was living in her own house and doing stuff, and I would love it. I'm not saying I'll make it to 100, but I want to be able to do everything for myself as long as I possibly can. I don't want to be a person that's stuck in a nursing home or having to have somebody care for me 24/7. I don't want to do that to my children. And I just don't want to do that. So I'm trying to do everything now while I'm young enough to try to keep the ball going. And I'm doing exactly what the doctor said. He said, to keep it propped up, which I'm doing right now. I'm putting it up again, and to exercise, walk, and, all that. So tomorrow I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to take it easy. I'm just going to walk on the elliptical. I'm not going to do any of the heavy leg weights or anything like that. But now I'll get back to my story. But yeah, see, and you do the same thing, and you'll probably be 97 too. So that's what we want. We want to be able to be you as long as possible. But what I was talking about was there's so much information out there. And one story I did see, I don't know if I'll bring it up. I think I brought it up last week or the week before. Hello. Thank you for joining me tonight. But the thing is they've been posting pictures, some of the Democrats showing Trump with a bunch of girls standing around him with their faces blacked out, trying to make it look like he's with young underage girls. And now it's coming to light that these photos have already been out for a long time, off and on, and tons of different stuff. And they're all grown women. They're all grown women that are at some other functions that has nothing to do with the Epstein stuff. So if I was Trump, I'd start suing the shit out of them. They have done nothing but drag his name through the dirt since 2016, and he should be doing the same thing. I think he should start suing the crap out of every single person who puts stuff out there knowing it's false. And if I was him, that's what I would be doing. So I'm going to put some of these up here real quick. And hello, Shadow and Sun. Thank you for coming in. I really, really appreciate it. And it really does make me feel good to see that I have so much support. And I know it's New Year's Day, but man, when you're like, I slept for 2 days almost because of the procedure I'd done. But yeah, I'm doing a lot better. I feel better. I really think this is going to make a huge difference. And man, science can make a huge difference in people in your life. If you read, I researched, I started looking up my symptoms and doing things like that. And I think because I knew what I was leaning towards might having problems with. And then my doctor that I had looked at my ankle and stuff and sent me to a specialist right away. So I was able to get right in and then have them look at it, and they know that I'm healthy. I don't smoke. I don't do drugs. I exercise. I try to eat right, and that I was a good candidate for somebody who will follow the rules and try to do everything right. So, and it will make him look good. If everything works good for me and I can brag about it and pass out his cards, and maybe it'll bring him some business, and he deserves it if he did a good job, right? So I want people to have, a good doctor that they can talk to and trust. And it's important to me to have a doctor that I feel like I can trust too. And one thing is, it's hard to find a doctor that looks you in the eye and talks directly to you about what he wants to do and what he might not be able to do, things like that. That's a good doctor. You get a good doctor like that, you hold on to them, because I'm telling you, there's not a lot of them. And you got to, with all the bad stuff that's happened, it takes a lot to trust people again. So if you get a good one, keep it. Keep them, because they're worth it. But I'm going to move on now. But the first thing I want to play is this video that came across one of my timeline on TikTok. And so I shared it on my X, and I try to put everything on X so I can put it into my shit show chat so I can share it in the different things that I might bring up. And I don't normally talk about this kind of stuff on the shit show, because it's mostly about politics. This is kind of about politics, but it's mostly about what happened to these girls, and that's why they're women now. But I wanted to talk about it and show you how much is out there already and who's putting it out. And for you yourself, I'm going to share links in the chat. So please go look things up. If you want to see something, or you think you know something. Hi, Bone. Thank you for stopping in. Really appreciate it. then share it. What's it going to hurt? Especially if it's not something you've heard before. If it's a brand new something and you think someone else might think it's interesting, share it with someone else. Even if it's only one person. I don't care if only 5 people see it, but if it's 5 people that never heard about it before or never saw it or heard some of it, then it's worth it to me. See, that's how I look at it. I mean, I'm never going to make a living doing this or anything. I do this. This is my social life. This is what I do for myself, for entertainment, or whatever you want to call it. But hi, thank you for stopping in. I really appreciate it. And Happy New Year. Yeah, it's going to be a wonderful day. But yeah, I know. I saw that. And I hope he sues, because when they took because you can take the cover off their face and see that the picture's been out for years and it has nothing to do with Epstein Island. Yeah, I know what you were talking about with that. But I'm going to play this first and let everybody see it. It's only 15 seconds long, but it's just the opening to get you to understand what happened when the Democrats started demanding they release all this stuff. Well, there's thousands and thousands and thousands. I mean, so many documents and pictures. It's shocking. But when you start seeing who's in the pictures, that's when you start going, wow, maybe they should shut up. Well, here we go. He was in that all those pictures. It's Spacey, Kevin Spacey, Bill Clinton. There was a Rolling Stone, a famous Rolling Stone, and another one. So a lot of people, I'm not saying that they did anything. This doesn't say they did anything. It's just saying that when you put a picture out of somebody like Donald Trump or someone else that's not a Democrat, with Epstein or at Epstein's place or hanging out with some of the Epstein people, you're trying to implement them in something, right? But you leave out all these other people. So if you're going to release it, you got to show all of it. And I'm all for that. I'm all for every single person that was on the flight logs or went to his Mexican ranch in Mexico on his plane. And went on his boat. And I think he even had a submarine on his island, and then went to his island and his New York apartment or condo, whatever you want. It was big, a really nice, fancy place, which we've seen Prince Andrew coming and going a lot from the New York place. So I just thought that was interesting how it seems funny how they want you to look that way, but if you release all of it, you start looking at all of it and say, holy crap, look how many Democrats are on this list. But this next thing I want to share, I thought that was really good. But this next thing I want to share, hold on, I'm so bad at this stuff. I gotta click on the right thing and share it. But this next one is really, really good. Now, you might have seen this before because I have talked about this gentleman, Mark Atwood. And he is kind of leaning toward the same thing I was saying about the way that everybody's making fun, saying that the Trump administration are a bunch of idiots by the way they release the documents and stuff. Like they didn't know what they were doing. But to me, I think they knew exactly what they were doing, because if you piss enough people off thinking you're not trying to release it or you're not releasing it properly or whatever you're doing, what's it make you do? It makes you start digging yourself. So listen to what he has to say, and I think it's pretty interesting. He says, Epstein redacted files revealed in PDF. Okay, so remember, a bunch of redacted files that supposedly has everything marked off so you can't read it. Well, listen to him, and he's going to explain some stuff to you.
Campers, have you seen the news that's all over Twitter and the rest of the internet? And that is that someone on TikTok showed a video of how you can copy and paste the redacted parts of the PDFs released on the Epstein files by the DOJ, and then just paste them into a Word file to read them. So, and there's a lot of videos that I've just watched of people saying, "Oh, the DOJ, Pam Bondi, are so stupid." Do you realize what they've just done? They've turned the whole world into anons. Now, hundreds of thousands of people are going to be doing this for themselves. And this is amazing. This is amazing disclosure. It's genius. I think the Trump team or the military have marketing geniuses working in there. They're wasted. Well, they're not wasted because they're doing an amazing job. The whole thing with the Epstein files over 2025 has been to create, in marketing terms, create the sizzle, right? It's created the sizzle that makes people desperately want to see what's in them. And then they screwed up a couple of releases, and then they delayed it, and then they redacted it, and now this. Do you think this is accidental? I don't at all. I think it's genius, absolute genius. And what's really good fun as well is who will be named in the Epstein files. This is some of the betting. Stephen Colbert, 97%. Tony Blair, only at 34%. Come on, Tony, you can do better than that. Education, Epstein's Island. What a wanker. Anyway, God bless you. See you later.
Well, what he tried to explain to you is you can go and download the PDF files yourself and read it at your own leisure, whatever chance you want. Or you can split it up amongst a bunch of your friends, and each of you take a section, and just like you said, you copy them and paste them, and guess what? The redactions are not there anymore. So you can read all of it. So do you really think that was a huge mistake, or do you think maybe, oops, I made a mistake? Kind of a mistake. So, yeah, there's a lot of good information in there. But the thing is, the victims have been talking for years, many, many years. There's tons and tons of videos out there with the victims speaking out about what happened to them while they were there. Now, what did the Clintons and other people do? Well, they tried to make them look like they were a bunch of nuts, that they're drug addicts, they're alcoholics, all those different things. Some of them even just off themselves. Some of them died in car accidents, other things like that. So it's, yeah, I do too. But the thing is, they're out. So you can take them and put them on whatever you make, any type of registry you want. It's legal. They're released. You're allowed to take them and read them, share them with your friends, all the time, and talk about it, just like I'm trying to do. But the thing is, I also have Virginia Giuffre's link to her book that I'm going to share. If you want to hear from a couple of the victims, you can. And there's tons of evidence out there, tons of videos, tons of documentaries, and you can hear exactly what happened to these girls. But guess what? It isn't easy to listen to. And all of them some of them say they weren't even raped. Okay. Now, Virginia says she was, because she had a client, which was the supposed one of the princes, I guess, Prince Albert or whatever his name was, that he was interested in her. So she did get sexually assaulted. But this other one that I'm going to talk about, Juliette Bryant, she says that she was, had a few guys that were interested in that, but most of them didn't do that kind of stuff. They used her for scientific experiments, because she got stuck with Bill Gates, people like that. So different people went there for different weird things. And that's what's sick about it. That's why it's important that you go through, read the files. I really am praying that enough people hound the judge over the Ghislaine Maxwell, because if he releases all the documents that put her behind bars, damn, that's going to be some good stuff. You know what I'm saying? Because if it was enough stuff in there to put her in prison, you know that it's got names, it's got evidence, it's got everything you need to read. And some of the stuff I'm going to share tonight, Virginia Giuffre's Wikipedia page. Okay, there's a list of things all through there where you can go, websites you can go to see that they took money. She was paid a whole bunch of money from different people when she sued them because of her evidence. I suppose she had a good lawyer, and she ended up buying some nice property and stuff for her and her husband and their family in Australia. I think it's in Queensland or somewhere like that, but it's all in there, and I'm going to share it. It's just sad that people rather get on Facebook and Snapchat and TikTok and Rumble and X and YouTube and go on and on and on about how all these pedophiles are covering for all the pedophiles in the government. And the Jews are behind it, and the whoever else is behind it, all this shit, when all you got to do is go read some of this stuff. Go look it up for yourself because it's out already. All these victims have been talking for years, and Virginia and a few others have already came out and said that Bill Clinton was there all the time, and that they never saw Trump on the island, and that they never were touched or talked to by Trump. The only one who even spoke Trump at all that I even heard about, I think it was Virginia Giuffre, because her father worked at Mar-a-Lago. And that was back years before I think Epstein was even arrested or anything in Florida the first time, because he was hitting on some of the women, the young teenage girls, and Trump told him to get the hell out and that he was barred from Mar-a-Lago. So that's how Trump was involved, as far as I could tell, that he just thought he was a bum. Told him to get the hell out because he didn't want some creep hitting on his young employees, teenage employees or whatever that worked at his golf course and stuff. And that's where Virginia Giuffre's father worked. So there's lots of details in there if you'll just take your time and read. I mean, every single person that I know uses the bathroom a couple times a day. And if you're going to the bathroom, just take a couple sheets in there with you and sit and read them. That's how you learn stuff, just, I don't know. I just don't understand so many people that are willing to just walk around and do this all the time, but they're not willing to read or research or watch a few videos from the actual victims themselves. So I don't know. I just think it's terrible. But it sure is funny how the Clintons are just everything's just shut the hell up for a little while. But they should. But I hope we see something happen. But the thing is, if they took money and the Clintons paid off people, then I just don't see them being put behind bars because of it, because the victims took money instead of them going to prison. And I don't know how that all works, but I'm sure somebody out there can give us information. But I'm going to share this real quick. This video, I think I just shared it. Let me look at my chat real quick. I think I just shared what he was talking about. Yeah, the redacted files revealed in PDF. Yeah, by the hackers on TikTok. We're talking about it. So yeah, I've just shared that one. So I'm going to close this one. And now I'm going to go to the next one that I had pulled up. Let's see. Because I thought it was interesting. Yeah, here's the other one right here. This is another video that someone put together, and it's just got lots of different stuff in it. But, I'm getting to the one where it's an actual interview with a survivor. So here we go.
Which actions by Hillary Clinton you think are the most satanic?
The willingness to kill babies.
And there were political reasons for that. They wanted to get the kids out of U.S. custody, so they were handing them off to, and imprisoning children in the basement of a pizzeria and things like that. I mean,
I'm gonna pull the whole thing down. I'm gonna bring the whole fucking diseased, corrupt temple down on your head. It's gotta be biblical.
As you know, 300,000 children are missing, right? 300,000 under Biden. We've already gotten back 10,000 of those children, and we have a lot more planned to come back. We're getting them back by the thousands.
I just shared the link for this video. And anytime that you're watching it, you can pause it and write down any information that you want, and then look it up. It's that simple. Because all of this is from stuff that's been out on the news somewhere. And all you have to do is go back and look it up, because it's been out for many, many years. Look at this. This is from 2016 right here. So anybody can look up past information if you want to take the time to do it. So that's on us. We are the ones that have to do that. So if you don't want to, then you don't have to. But I'm just saying, if you want to find out certain things, the easiest way for you to do it is to look it up for yourself, because that way you know where the information comes from. You're the one that read it. You're the one that listened. You're the one that makes the decision on whether or not you want to share it or not. I've watched this video, and I went and I found other information from this video to share with you after you watch it, about some of the things that she's going to talk about as the victim. And her name's Juliette Rose Bryant. And I'm going to play her story for you in her own words. And this is only a 7.5 minute take of one of her interviews, but she's done many of them. And all you have to do is put her name in, look her up, and go watch tons of videos that she's done, because she's tried to get people to listen, to know what happened to her, just like Virginia Guthrie did. So you can either listen to her and believe her, or you can listen to her and deny her. So every person that denies her and rather go over and say, oh, this person and that person's covering for someone, well, you're not even listening to the victim yourself. So, yeah, I'm not saying she's not damaged, because I believe any person that went to that island as a victim has some kind of psychological damage. But you can listen to it and know that she's not full of crap. At least I can. At least that's how I look at it. But here we go.
My name is Juliette Bryant. I was kidnapped by Jeffrey Epstein in 2002. I met him when he was in Africa with Bill Clinton and Kevin Spacey and Chris Tucker. As we know, these men are all very dangerous. I was promised a modeling career. Instead, I was kidnapped to the island. Many terrifying things happened to me there. They don't want the victims speaking out. I'm just adding this as evidence. This is a photograph that I took when I was there. I found a disposable camera and I took some photographs of the island. I still have the negatives. It was very, very frightening being there. I don't like talking about it. You know, they've been covering up a lot. It's very frightening what's been going on. You know, they're lying completely. There's obviously something hidden under the island. There's something very bad going on here. There's also the weird thing about the Butterfly Trust. And I had a butterfly on my diary that year, and many of the Epstein victims used the butterfly. Like Sarah Ransom has a butterfly tattoo. Virginia Giuffre uses the blue butterfly, used the blue butterfly as her Twitter logo. We all have similar sorts of eyes. And Epstein started the Butterfly Trust in 2014 with JP Morgan to pay off victims and accomplices. What I've started to realize is I think they were taking our eggs. Why were there no young boys on the island? Why was there $1 billion worth of human trafficking between Epstein and JP Morgan? Why did Epstein want to seed the human race with his DNA? You know, it's very scary, but everyone needs to do their research. You know, Epstein was very into transhumanism. Sergey Brin was on his island. You know, there were scientists there, and, you know, they were into cloning, it seems. And, you know, Bill Clinton actually banned the use of federal funds for human cloning in 1997, 1 year after Dolly the sheep was cloned. They cloned a sheep in 1996. That was 30 years ago. They can clone humans. It's obviously possible. Then I met Michael Bay at Epstein's New Mexico ranch, and he made the movie The Island 1 year after I met him there. The movie he made is about human cloning. Everyone should watch it because it explains a lot. It's very frightening. And, you know, Bill Clinton banned human cloning federal funds use of in 1997. So, you know, Epstein also told another victim he was planning to clone himself in his own lab. You know, also just before he was arrested, apparently he shipped cement to the island. You know, that's being hidden from us here. They ordered a carpet shredder and a tile extractor, and, you know, it's very, very frightening. And when you do your research, Epstein's New Mexico ranch is directly between Roswell and Dulce in New Mexico. And then I guess down the rabbit hole we go again, you know, with Disney princesses, Epstein and JP Morgan. They used Disney princesses as code words. Virginia died on Alice Day. They used Disney princesses' names as code words. So there's obviously something a lot more going on here. You know, they did $1 billion worth of human trafficking. They had to pay the victims $290 million in the lawsuit. You know, I was paid out from the lawsuit because I was taken there. Sorry.
So did you hear that? They were paid $290 million. All the victims that were named in the court case against Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. So they were paid. So that changes whether or not we would be able to prosecute for what they did to these victims. Even if we had stacks and stacks of more evidence, if it was already used. That's why I think that's one of the reasons why they won't unseal the documents from the trial. I don't know how you go about doing that, but to me, it's ridiculous that it's sealed. Why is documents sealed from the court case that was going to put Giuffre in prison for the rest of his life, but he killed himself before he went to trial? But Ghislaine Maxwell is in prison for trafficking women, okay, through the island. And I don't know exactly where, like she said, the New Mexico ranch that no one ever seems to talk about, okay, and also the plane. But why is she in prison, but not a single person has been arrested besides them two for actually purchasing the young people, the young women, right? And I was also told, she says, where were all the boys? Well, if you listen to Virginia Giuffre's interviews of some of hers, she says that when Obama came, he always wanted little boys, island boys. So, it's their word because I never saw any of the evidence. All I know is they were paid $290 million in a settlement against the Epstein stuff, money or whatever, their island. So all the stuff supposedly was sold and things like that. So I don't know that much about it because I'm not a lawyer. I don't understand that stuff. All I can do is share this stuff with you, and hopefully someone out there that watches this or has listened to her interviews or read some of this information can say, oh, I understand this, and explain it to someone, the rest of us, the layman like me. But from what I gather is that when you accept money in a settlement, you can't sue. You can't hold them up for a crime because you took money instead. Okay, so as far as I know, I think that's how it works. But like I said, I'm admitting I'm not a lawyer. I don't have a lawyer. I don't know anything about all that stuff. I'm just going by the information that I have, and I'm not getting paid to even do this. I'm paying monthly just to have StreamYards just so I can air this stuff. And I'm not making any money. It'd be nice if I could just make the $25 a month that I pay just to have it. And that doesn't even pay for my internet or anything. But I pay $25 a month just so I can do these shows. And I'm not making any money off of it yet. And I've been doing it for 3 years? So I don't see how I'm ever going to make any money. But I've spent a lot of my own money to try to do this because I think it's important. And a lot of people give me hate because of it. I had someone that said they're going to unfollow me today on one of my things because I posted a video and it didn't have a certain person that passed away this last year. Because, I can't remember every single person who died. I can't remember every single star or every single person, but apparently it pissed them off enough to say they were unsubbing me. And I said, fine, you should block me probably because I know I'm going to make way more mistakes than that one. So, I don't want you to follow me. I don't want you to subscribe to me if you think that you're not interested in what I have to say. I'm not doing it for money. I'm not getting paid any money. And I've posted a few times showing you I need over hundreds of hours to even qualify to even make money. I don't have a store. I don't sell anything because I don't even know how to do that. Okay. I'm learning as I go and I'm doing the best I can. But the thing is, I'm willing to dig and find information and try to share it with other people. And, and I like comic books and I like cosplay. I like all that other stuff. And I might as well put that stuff on. I do crafting. I do lots of stuff. But this kind of stuff is important to me too. I care about people that are trafficked. I care about rape victims. I care about children that are molested. I care about wives that are beat. I care about all that type of thing. And if I can talk about it and I can find information about it and share information, why shouldn't I? But the only channel that's ever taken me down for anything was been when I talked about Comet Ping Pong or when I talked about the jab or if I, different things like that. I have had to take a class because I'm a cyber bully. I'm spreading medical misinformation, even though I showed at the beginning all the different stuff that they said I had to share to show that it's my opinion, which it is. I'm sharing information that I found, and this is my opinion on what I think it is, and that you personally should go look stuff up yourself to find out what you think is the truth. And I say that every time, but still, you know, I might even lose my channel because I do this. But I still think it's important. You know, they have commercials on my stuff and everything, but I'm not making any money, so I probably never will. But the thing is, I don't care. If 10 people watch me, great. I think it's awesome. And I hope that I can give you something, you know, some information that you probably wouldn't have gotten before. But, you know, I have 4 sisters, and they don't even want to watch because it's not something they're interested in, or it's too much for them. It's too sad, or they don't want to think about that kind of bad stuff happening. Well, guess what? A lot of people feel that way. And that's why this kind of stuff just goes on and on and on, because nobody wants to do anything about it. Nobody wants to share the information. Nobody wants to see these people persecuted. And all these young women that were taken there, instead of saying, we want justice, we want to see these guys go to prison, all they wanted was to just get on with their lives. So they took money instead. They took restitution. So, and we have to live with that, okay? Because it wasn't us. It wasn't you and I that was assaulted or used or had our eggs harvested from us or skin samples taken or whatever it was that they had done to them. They went through it. These girls are the ones that suffered. And if they took money to help them try to get therapy or to buy a home and try to get out and live their life, a normal life afterward, it's not our business. Okay, it's none of our business. But I want you to understand that as long as the victims get some type of justice, that's what we should be fighting for. You know, if we bring out all the names, which are out now, all you got to do is go get the PDF file, just like I showed you, and you can say, hey, look at all these people. They're all freaking psychos or whatever. They went to the island and they tortured women, young girls or boys or whoever. And that's all you're going to be able to do, because as far as I can tell, I don't think anyone's going to be able to prosecute anyone because these girls took money instead. They took, you know, however amount of money each person received that was named in the cases. I don't know, but they're the victims. If anybody deserves justice, it's them. So it's what they decide to do, not what I decide to do, because I wasn't a victim by any of these people. So I'm going to finish playing what she was saying.
That I'm not good at talking. It makes me so stressed talking about this. And, you know, the cloning, and when you look into the email I made, there were scientists. I didn't see any girls being trafficked to any other men. We were all being made to be taken to Epstein's room, but I didn't see anyone being trafficked to other men. You know, and a lot of these people are involved, it seems. Like apparently Bill Gates used to go and see Epstein often, and Harvey Weinstein was friends with him, and Woody Allen. It's just very, very frightening when you look into more details. And also Leslie Wexner, I was promised a Victoria's Secret modeling career because Epstein said he was best friends with him. I never went to any modeling casting. Instead, I was kidnapped. And I really think they were taking our eggs. It's the only thing that makes sense when you look into everything. Let's listen to Virginia Giuffre.
Your baby, but it would really be our baby. And we would have you sign a document that says
Epstein funded the robot Sophia. He was into a lot more than what people realize. And also his temple looks very much like the Disney thing, you know, the Disney logo. You know, there's a lot.
Yeah, and also that TV talk show host, Ellen DeGeneres, if you look at some of the pictures of her backdrop and stuff with the blue and gold painted lines and stuff, looked a lot like his whole building right here in her studio. So there was a lot of really creepy stuff. Once you start really reading about it and looking into it, you're like, what the blank was going on? But I wasn't there. And guess what? I hate to say this, but we'll be lucky if we get a third or a fourth or even half of all the information. And the only way that that's going to happen to even get more than half is to have all the different people that have been investigating and opening up the PDF files and putting it together and then putting the pictures in order and stuff. The same thing that they did. There was two guys that took a ton of time with a group of other people to go through the whole Hunter Biden laptop and put it all in a book form so that you could go through it. I had a show way back and they were on it. It was during the time when Hunter was being went to court over the gun charge or whatever it was, the measliest thing they could find in all the stacks of criminal acts that were on his laptop. Well, those guys did that. So if somebody else or a couple groups of people get together and do the same thing with all of this, I mean, you guys could probably get a book. You probably get a good book deal, because there's a lot of people that would love to see it all compiled together with the pictures, all the names, and all the other information that went along with what place they went to, whether it was New York or New Mexico or to the island or on the plane, any of that stuff. You guys could be set for life, I think, because I think, I don't know how much you'd make, but it seems like a lot of money you'd probably get if they could pay $290 million just as restitution to these young girls. That's a lot of money. I mean, it's more money than I can't even imagine a few $100,000, in my bank account, let alone $1 million. So I don't know. I'm just glad to know that I finally know that these girls did get money. They did get something for what they went through, even though it may not be the justice we feel we need. I mean, think about it. The young girl that was killed by those illegals under the bridge, and I can't remember her name. I'm such a terrible person, but it just popped in my head. There's nothing. I don't care how much money the parents would get paid or anything, never will make up for losing your child. No amount of money can make up for losing a loved one. I don't care what anyone says. I would rather have my mother back than have $5 billion. If I could just hug her one more time, it would be worth it. But, we can't pick and choose those things. But when people just drag it through the mud, and that's all they talk about is that over and over again. They're covering for the pedophiles. They're covering for the pedophiles. When there's all this out, and some of this stuff is from 2016, and it's 2026 today. So all you had to do is go and start looking for it yourself if you really wanted to see it. But most people didn't want to see it. All they wanted to do is bitch and moan about it, so they'd have something to get other people to click on, I guess, something like that. But here we go. Let me finish.
More going on here with the Disney princess code words and Snow White. It's very, very freaky when you look into it. Like, what on earth was going on here? Mm-hmm. We need to all do our research and find out more, because there was $1 billion worth of human trafficking between JP Morgan and Epstein's accounts. And it seems like it's very much connected to Disney somehow. There's the island, the temple. There are pictures of Ghislaine Maxwell with Disney characters. Ellen DeGeneres' office looks very much like the Disney insignia. And then we've got Alice in Wonderland, and, down the rabbit hole we go, down into the underground. Virginia Giuffre found dead on Alice Day. The blue butterfly symbol, transhumanism. My name just above Katy Perry's name on the flight logs. Epstein, a maths teacher, drew a blue butterfly on the board. Then you've got Katy Perry with the blue butterfly in space, up there with Jeff Bezos' wife.
But if you go back and look at that, when you go back and watch this video, a lot of people brought to my attention when I shared this video with them that the butterfly shape is what Virginia Guthrie used, but it was two faces. It was two faces, and it was the outlines of the faces that made the outside look like butterflies. And she was doing it for victims. That was how she did it. But Epstein, when he used a butterfly that looked like, if you looked at it really well, it looked like a pelvis, like a woman's pelvis, just like what she was saying. She felt, and she never saw anyone trafficked. She said everything she saw was to do with science. So they were taking skin samples, blood samples, hair samples. They were doing all kinds of things, looking at her eyeballs. She says they were harvesting eggs, different things like that. So everyone that she saw were scientists and stuff. So just like what she said, that Epstein said he was going to have a clone, of himself, maybe multiple. That movie that came out after she met the director of the movie, The Island, and she met him in New Mexico at Epstein's ranch. So there's just so many tentacles that come out of this to things that are plausible. And I looked up the whole thing about the sheep. I'm going to bring that up later, about the first sheep that was cloned. But you got to remember, there's a business out right now that if your dog dies or your cat, you can send hair or skin or whatever it is they ask for to them, and they'll clone your pet. Okay, so if they can clone your pet, they can clone people. It's just that if they're going to clone people, are they going to just tell you about it? No, because it's not acceptable. Most people are religious, have some form of religion, and they're all against man being God, right? A lot of people don't want you to bring back a raptor or T-Rex or a woolly mammoth or any of these creatures that have died naturally over time because of some extinction event or whatever. So it can happen. And I even asked a couple of different AIs to tell me whether or not it's possible to clone humans, and I got the information. I'm going to share that. And as far as I could tell, yeah, they could do it. It's just that it's not ethical. So if you wanted to do something like that, let's say you wanted to start your own cloning company, like The Island movie, right? Where you had billions of dollars at your disposal and thousands and thousands of beautiful young girls, blonde, brunette, Asian, black, whatever race you wanted. And you could go in and harvest her eggs, and she couldn't do anything about it because you didn't have to pay her. You don't have to do anything because she's your victim. She's your slave. You can do whatever you want with her. Why wouldn't you just harvest the eggs and make little clones of you or her or anyone else? Because what you need is a way to grow them, right? And if you had the money and the technology, if you can grow a sheep, why wouldn't you be able to grow a human baby? So I'm just saying, I think it's plausible. And just because she talks about cloning and stuff does not mean she's nuts. Maybe that's what she put together from everything that she heard and listened to. Because you got to remember, she's laying down on a table or whatever it is they're doing, and they're treating her like she's a piece of meat. She's not even a human to them. She's just a specimen. So think about that. And when you're just nothing, people ignore you. So they'll talk about anything around you. She probably heard tons of things that they normally would never say in front of other people, that they actually look at and talk to and look in their eyes because they're another equal. They didn't see her as an equal. She's a victim. All these girls were victims. So they don't talk to you the same way. Okay. And just because you go to the island doesn't mean, just like she said, that you're going there for sex. Maybe you're going there to harvest adrenochrome just to scare some kids, young people, and get their blood. I mean, I don't know. I'm just throwing some stuff out there. that I think was possible that happened out there. Because I mean, if Hillary Clinton went there, or if any of these other women went there, a lot of people think Oprah Winfrey used to go there. I don't know. I wasn't there. I haven't seen all the PDF files yet. I'd like to, but I haven't had time. I've had so many other things happening, and I do have a life, like most of us do. So we don't have 24 hours a day to sit and investigate. I wish I did, but I don't. That's not reality for me. But just listening to her, I do believe her. I've heard her over and over again. She says pretty much exactly the same things over and over and over. And some of the stuff, sometimes she gets very emotional, other times she doesn't. But I do that. Whenever I talk about my mom, when I don't know, sometimes I get very emotional because I did lose my mother right before Christmas. And it was hard on me because she was one of my very best friends. And anyone who loses somebody, it has emotional, goes along with it. So it doesn't matter how many years it's been. I don't care if you lost your child 25 years ago, it still hurts. It may not hurt as much as it did the day it happened, but depending on what the circumstances are, you're going to cry again. You're going to get upset. So I do believe what she's saying, but I think she's almost finished. So here we go.
And with Gayle King, Oprah's friend, and Oprah was also apparently involved. Apparently Epstein owned her network. And then you've got them all apparently going to space, and you've got blue butterflies on Jeff Bezos's wedding invitation. It's all very, very creepy, and it's obviously some sort of weird sign. I mean, I don't know the exact meaning of it, but I think we all need to look into it because there's something very weird going on here. Like, my name was underneath Katy Perry's name on the flight logs. And they speak about MK Ultra, and I don't really know more about all of it. I've done a bit of research into it. You can watch other videos I've made. But also with the cloning, you get like Frankenstein. It's like Frank Epstein. To be frank is to be honest. And I saw Epstein turn into something in front of my eyes. I'll never deny that. And it just seems like there's clearly a lot more going on here, and I don't know what to tell anyone. I just want to share the information that I have. And yeah, just sending everyone lots of love, and thank you for listening.
So she just tries to share what she feels is important because it happened to her, and this is what happened to her. And I think it's important that we share it. So I think I already put her information in. Yeah, I'll do it one more time. I'm going to share it one more time in the chat with everyone. And if you're interested in slowing it down and me not talking over it, it might help a little bit. Can't help it. I get so emotional about a lot of this stuff because to me, it's heart-wrenching that someone had to pay these women $290 million for what they did to these girls, and we don't know what it is. The people, it was bad enough to put Ghislaine Maxwell in prison. I could just say that. They have enough evidence to do that for trafficking. So I don't know. I just think it's terrible. And to think about all the hundreds of thousands of kids that go disappear every year is gut-wrenching to me. But let me do this next one. Let me turn that off. This other thing that I had that I looked up that went along with it. This is some information right here that I used. I just asked DuckDuckGo about a search assist about Dolly the sheep. Was the first mammal cloned from an adult cell born on July 5th, 1996. At the Rosalind Institute in Scotland. So I don't know what they're doing in Scotland or other countries over there. I don't even know for sure what they're doing in our country. All I know is that in 1996, they were able to take cells and make a living sheep. And it says right here, it says, that they took a cell from a mammary gland that was used to produce a genetically identical clone. She lived until the age of 6, giving birth to 6 lambs during her life. So they were God, basically. They played God, and they created a living being that gave birth to other living beings. Even though it wasn't a human, they still did it. And that was in 1996. So can anyone tell me, guarantee me and say there's no way anyone has ever cloned a human? You can't tell me that. So, I am leaning towards more and more. I know I sound like nuts maybe, but I'm leaning more and more to believing that maybe what she's saying has some merit, because I don't know, if they could clone a sheep that gave birth to 6 offspring in 1996, and this is 2025 and now 2026, I think that we've way leaps and bounds ahead from where we were then. So I definitely think that maybe she's not full of crap when it comes to that whole thing. But then I pulled this up. Let's see, is that it? Maybe this is it. Let me look real quick. Yeah, okay. Then I asked it this: can a human be cloned from the technology that we have available? That's what I asked it. And then it says, here's the answer. It says, biologically speaking, the core technique needed to clone a human does exist. It's called somatic cell nuclear transfer, the same method used to clone Dolly the sheep in 1996. Modern cloning techniques have advanced significantly since then, especially in animals and in therapeutic cloning research. Now, I watched a documentary. This was many years ago, too. It was like maybe 10 years ago, I guess, when I watched this video. I watched a guy. He went in to the doctor, and he had an ear he had lost in I don't remember, some type of accident. His whole ear was gone. And now they could rebuild him one and sculpt whatever they needed, silicone or whatever, to make it. Well, what they did was they took cells from his own ear, his other ear, the cartilage, and then I don't know how they did it, but they mixed stuff together in tubes and stuff in the lab, and then they put it under the skin of a rat, one of those white lab rats. And then over time, I don't know how many weeks it was, but you saw something growing under there. And after it was done, they cut the rat's back open, and they pulled out cartilage that looked just like a human ear. Didn't have skin or anything on it. It was just cartilage. It was all gooey and stuff. They cleaned it all up, and they put it on the guy and covered it with his own skin. So they cloned an ear using a rat, a living rat, to grow it in. So, and that was creepy. And I watched that, and that was just an ear. But I know they can do hearts and livers, kidneys, and things like that. So when I saw the movie The Island, I thought it was definitely plausible that it could happen. Now, the fact that they were growing them in like a day, one or two of the victims that were the 2 people that were trying to get out of the island because they fell in love or whatever. One was like 3 years old and the other one was 4, which is the hard part I have, because a sheep can be done quicker because it doesn't take as long to become mature enough to give birth on their own. A human would have to be at least 12 to 14 years old for a young girl to go through puberty and all that stuff to mature, because our lifespan is different. Just like an elephant. An elephant can live a lot longer, and so it takes longer for an elephant to be able to give birth themselves. And a turtle, look how long some turtles can live, to be over 100 years old. or a parrot. Some parrots can live to be 100. So it would depend on the type of animal, I think. Now, this is just me, because, just from me reading and watching videos and things like that, to be able to clone something, you would have to have the time for it to mature, to be able to produce on their own. So if I was to grow a human, it would have to have a normal human lifespan, just like if they grew it in an incubator, or they took the baby clone and implanted it into a human woman to carry the child. She wouldn't know it was cloned. She would just think that she was being a surrogate mother, or maybe it's a mother who can't give birth. Maybe there's lots of women that go to fertility clinics and they inject them with eggs and embryos and stuff. How do we know they haven't already done it? I'm just saying, there's so much out there. We have no clue. I really think the only ones that would know would be the ones that were doing it. They wouldn't even have to tell the women, and then someone says, well, your kid sure looks like so-and-so, or if they were famous, but just think about it. If you were a multimillionaire, or you had, $1 billion in the bank or whatever, and you found out that you were having a failing kidneys or liver, and you knew that there was somebody out there in the black market that could clone you brand new kidneys, I know that you'd be saying, hey, I'll pay the money, clone me some kidneys and give me some kidneys, new ones. Why wouldn't you do it? I mean, I think you would if you had the money and you knew it was going to save your life, or if it was your child's life, you would do it. I mean, I know I would do whatever I could possibly do to save my child, protect my child. And I think a lot of people would do that. But yeah, they grew the ear. Yeah, it was really cool. I wish I could find the video. I'd have to go and look it up, because it was an actual thing. I think it was on the Discovery Channel when I watched it. Man, I sure miss those things. There was some really good stuff on that channel. I don't know what happened. I don't even know if they still have it, but I've not seen the Discovery Channel on a list of some of the TV channels that I've been on. So I don't know, but I think they still have it. But it was really interesting. But I wanted to share this because I was shocked. So anyone, you guys can just go get on your browser or whatever, and just type it in and ask it, about cloning technology today, about Dolly the sheep, because that's what I did. So I don't really have a website. I used my Microsoft Copilot or whatever it's called, and just asked it a question, and it gave me this information, because that's what, to me, AI is for, is to learn stuff. It's just supposed to ask it a question, and it gives you the information you need. And then you take from it what you need and just get rid of what you don't. But it says here that it says reproductive human cloning, creating a clone baby, is not possible in practice and not allowed. Okay. Just because they say, no, you can't do that. Look around the world and tell me how many people follow the rules. Okay. So I'm leaning more and more and more towards, I think someone's been cloned. I think there's lots of clones. Now, I'm not saying they're parading them out in public. I just think they're doing it for whatever their reasons are, and they're not telling people. And I hate to say it, but I think a lot of these women that have gone to fertility clinics and stuff probably have a cloned baby. I remember reading, I lived in New Orleans at the time, but I remember reading about a doctor that was a fertility doctor, and that they found out, I don't know how they found out, but somehow one of the patients found out that the baby that she gave birth to was the doctor's baby. And what he was doing was using his own sperm with all the women's eggs instead of their husbands, and impregnating all these women. So it's really scary. So what I recommend, from everything that I've researched and looked up, if it was me and I wanted to have a baby, I would find my own surrogate, and with my husband and stuff, and then go to a specialist and have them use our stuff and make sure that, you guys are around when they're doing it, and then let them show you and stuff, because a legitimate business that does that will let you watch. They're not going to say, sorry, I got to go in the back room and get the sperm. They're just not going to do that. They're going to let you be involved in it because it is your child type of thing. So you just need to make sure you are careful and don't just take whoever, whatever closet guy that comes out of the closet saying, oh, I can do it for this price or whatever. Shop around just like you would for a car or any other a home. I was just it was disgusting when I read about some of this stuff. When I started looking into it, I was like, good God, we got some sick people out there that do anything. But this is Virginia Giuffre. She is one of the most loudest speaking, well, when she was alive, out there, putting her information out there about what happened to her with Epstein and with Ghislaine Maxwell. The thing is that she came out, let's see, I'm trying to remember the exact date, if I can find it. It says right here, on July 2nd, 2019, it says that the United States Court of Appeals for the Second Circuit ordered the unsealing of documents from her civil suit against Maxwell. So that was in 2019. So her information has been out since way before 2019. So there's so much out there that you guys can get and read, and it's real information, because this girl did everything she could possibly do. Because once she got married, in one of the interviews that I watched, it was after she gave birth to her daughter when she realized I have to start sharing my information, because I guess you just can't hold your daughter in your arms and feel like you're helping when you're not telling the truth about what happened to yourself, so that it doesn't happen to your daughter or someone else's daughter. She got to that point in her life where she realized that that's what she wanted to do. And she was just a wonderful woman. I really feel bad about everything that's happened to this woman and all of the victims. But you don't really get that feeling for people unless you see them and you listen to them, and you can see the emotion coming from them. And once you get that, you get a connection with them. And that's what's so sad about so many of the victims, is that they chose not to go public. They were involved in the going to court and everything, is that they wanted to see these people have to pay them money or whatever it was that they decided to do, but they didn't want their face out there. They didn't, and I can understand why. Some people don't want people to know they were raped multiple times and were horrible things that happened to them. They don't want to have to walk down the street every day and have people staring and pointing. I bless all of these girls that had to go through all this terrible stuff. But I'm going to share her information. I've got another one that I'm going to share after this, and it's her book that she put out about her memoirs that she wanted to get out. And if you're interested in wanting to know more about it, it wouldn't hurt to buy her book, because now that she's not there, the money will go to her children that are left behind, since she's no longer with us in the living. But yeah, it's just heartbreaking how devastated a lot of people's lives are, all because of this one person, Jeffrey Epstein. And then Ghislaine Maxwell, another sick bitch. And see, people say, oh, men are this, men are scum. But look at her. She's just as scummy and disgusting, gross pig as him. And it's sad because there are so many of them like that. And there's tons of women out there that traffic kids. They go up and say, hey, you're so cute. You want to be a model? I can have you become a model. Where's your mom? Whatever, your dad. And talk them into it. And then they'll just hand their kids over. I have been on sets, I don't know how many times, and it's a show that's going to have some kids in it. And the parent comes and they leave their kid with the PA or whoever is in charge and leave. Go do shopping or whatever it is themselves. And I'm like, there's no way. There's no way in hell. I don't care how many sets I've been on. I would never leave my kid. I would be with my kid the whole time they were there. I don't give a shit. Or me or my sister or somebody personal to me would be with my kid in that show or music video or commercial, or whatever it is. There's no way I would leave my kid. People do it all the time. And it I don't know. I just don't understand it. I just couldn't do that. I would never do that. And then here is, I think I shared the second one. Yeah, Nobody's Girl is the name of her book. And then this is what you heard Jeanette talking about when she was saying that the blue butterflies, stuff like that. Well, it's called the Victims Refuse Silence is the name of the website. And this is what Virginia Giuffre started. And I'm going to share that. But I'm going to bring up the page because I want you to see what she was talking about when she said that Epstein used a butterfly too when he was working with some of these people about the cloning stuff that she was talking about. Now, maybe she's mixing them all together and thinking that they all mean the same thing. But I think, honestly, I think the butterflies mean something different to some of the other victims because some of them had tattoos put on. They might have done it because of Virginia. They might have done it because of something that had to do with their family members. I don't know. Because usually when you get a tattoo, it's something personal. Like me, I got a tattoo. It's on my wrist, and it's of a dove, and there's a heart there. And I did it because it was like the heart represents love, and the dove is my mom, and she's no longer on earth because she's now in heaven. And then when I hug people, my sisters, or my nieces and nephews or whoever, it's like my mom is also hugging them. So I don't know. That was just the reason why I got it. And most people I know that do get a tattoo, they get it for a personal reason. There's a meaning behind a tattoo. It's not just something you just go get. And when they did that MK Ultra stuff was going on, they would do that branding kind of thing on the girls. And it was a sign of ownership over them, like they were their slaves. So it can also mean something mean like that. And branding, boy, I know that had to hurt for the girls that they got branded. But I'm going to share, I think I shared it. Yeah. Okay, I just shared that, but I'm going to open this because I want to show you. Let me stop sharing this. And I want to show you what this butterfly thing looks like because it isn't really a butterfly. She said it was because of what it looked like, but if you look at it, it's faces. It's two faces of people coming together to show that they're not alone. And this is what Virginia came up with because she felt it was important that they had someone to share their what happened to them with. And not just the girls that were on the island. She was doing it for all trafficked people, young girls and boys, because boys are also trafficked. It's not as many, it's not millions like it is the girls, but there are hundreds of thousands of young boys that are trafficked also every year because we have that many pedophiles that like boys too. So it's sad, but that's a fact of life. But she used this symbol for her thing. And I'm going to share this website again because I want you guys to know this is the one that Virginia Giuffre started after she won the money for restitution. She started this. I think her husband also, her family and stuff helped her with that whole thing. But she wanted to do something. Once she became a mother herself, she realized she had to do more. Even though she'd already went through so much, she wanted to do more for other people, to help others that had been in the same situation that she'd been through. So, all of this stuff when it comes to Epstein hurts so many people. And yes, a lot of people got away with stuff. It's really sick to think about it, but a lot of people get away with it every day. There are serial killers, there's rapists, there's people that break into homes that they never find because their DNA has never been put in the system, or whatever the reason, or their fingerprints aren't in the system. Like the Golden State Killer, he was running rampant in California for over 30 something years before they finally caught him. And they're everywhere. I mean, these people are everywhere. That's why you just have to take self-defense classes. You need to make sure you're not going out and doing things by yourself. Always have a partner. Don't let your kids run around out there, even teenagers, just all by themselves. They need to understand that predators are everywhere. I don't care if you live in the country or if you live in the city. If you live in one state compared to another, every state, I don't care if it's a red state or a blue state, they have bad people in them. Every town, every single state has bad guys in it, and bad women. Women will also do it too. So you've got to be on the lookout for it. But let's see, what was this other one? Oh, okay. Now, while I was digging up all the stuff about Virginia Giuffre and some of the other victims of Epstein, and the Clinton information and things like that, and I shared all those different things in the chat, I found something interesting, and I want to share that with you real quick. So let me turn this off. Whoops. Okay, now here we go. I think it was, is it this one? Yeah, Pedogate. And this is a website on Rumble. And this guy's name is Mouthy Buddha. I never heard of him until I started looking for some of this stuff. But man, there's a lot of stuff on his page. I mean, tons and tons of different videos, all about different things like this. And if you want to get information and learn some stuff, you go and watch some of his videos, because he's got a bunch of stuff compiled. And like we were talking about earlier, is that getting somebody to sit down and put it all together so that you can watch it, read it, or listen to it, it makes it easier on you, because you don't have the time to do it. Just like those gentlemen that I was telling you that put together the whole Hunter laptop. I mean, there was so much crap on there. It was disgusting. But they deserve, money or whatever they can get. Kudos for what they did, because they felt it was important enough to go through the whole thing and document all of it. I mean, there was so many files in there. It was disgusting. I'm sure. I bet they were repulsed a lot. And whoever had to do all this stuff, I'm probably sure that there's a lot of things in there that would make your stomach churn. And the same thing with Anthony Weiner's laptop. I bet there's some really disgusting stuff on that. But that's what's good about these people. People like this gentleman, and I don't know him, but I don't mind sharing his stuff on my channel, because if it's going to get more information out to more and more people, and you learn about it, and it will stop some predator from getting you or someone in your family, hell, it's worth it. It took me 10 minutes to share some of this stuff. If it saves one person, well, yeah, it's definitely worth it to me. At least I think so. And I'll probably never meet anyone that might have helped. But I don't care. I don't care if I ever get to meet them. If I think it's going to help someone, I want you to know about it. And I would like it if you share it with other people, if you see it. But this guy definitely seems interesting. I would definitely want you to go check out their channel, because it just looks like it's got some good stuff on there. And now I've got one more that I want to share. But this is a X page that I found. this is where I started looking and finding out more about the other gentleman that's on Rumble, and his name is this sci-fi, I guess what you'd call him, and he says he's a researcher, intelligence researcher, but I don't know if I can play this whole thing. I guess I'll play it for you. It says the secret DC underground blackmail ops, money laundering, and the occult. So this whole thing is all about all these people that you see in here. And remember, I probably won't play this tonight because I'll probably get in trouble, because the last time I played a 7-minute video with these two sharing emails, they took my channel down for 2 weeks, and YouTube did, and said I was a cyber bully. So, and I already have a warning right now against my channel that's been up for 2 years. I have sent emails. I have asked somebody to help me get it taken down because I took the class they asked me to take. I did everything they said, and I still have a warning. And I have taken pictures of it and posted it on my post area, where we post stuff. I'm going to do it again this week, I guess, saying, hey, if there's anybody out there that can help me get this warning taken down that's been up for 2 years against my channel, because I already start off every show with a warning already. So, it doesn't take much after that to get your channel taken completely down where you can never be on here again, simply for talking about somebody like these two people that they said that I was a cyber bully. So, because I was talking about Comet Ping Pong and emails. So it's just really sad and very biased that one channel over there that has 100,000 subscribers, and then my channel that's not even monetized gets taken down because I'm talking about the same exact thing. I've played some stuff off of Tucker Carlson's X account about, he did an interview with the Surgeon General of Florida, and they were talking about the shots, and that he was going to shut down giving the shots to kids until they found out whether or not it altered the children's DNA. And I played just that segment to talk about it because I was talking about the jabs or whatever, and they took me down for that. And they took my video down too and said that it was medical misinformation. And when they asked if I wanted to appeal, I said yes. And I said, how can it be medical misinformation? It's a Surgeon General of Florida, Nothing. They didn't even reply or anything. They didn't do anything. They just took me down for 2 weeks because I'm a nobody. I'm just a nothing. I don't mean anything apparently to them, except, when people do watch my stuff and you see a commercial, well, they're making some money off of my stuff. So, I'm just not big enough to them to make, I'm not even a blip on their radar. They could probably care less. But it's terrible. It's terrible how one person can say something, but someone else can't say it. The exact same thing without getting in trouble. But that's just the way it is. But I hope there was something in here that you hadn't heard of or saw. And I don't mind sharing people's names or information so that they get credit, because they're the ones that made the video, not me. I'm just sharing it with you. And that's why I always try to share the links, because I think it's important that these people get something for it, because they took the time out of their life to make that, to share with us. And I think it's important that we share it with other people, because that's the only way. You're not going to get on CNN and hear any of this stuff. You're not going to get on NBC. You're not going to get on BBC. You're not going to get on any of that stuff and get any of this. The only way you're going to get this stuff is from other people that want to share it. Maybe on Discord, maybe on Rumble, maybe on Kick, maybe on, you're lucky if you get it on TikTok. I mean, I honestly left Facebook after I think right before the 2020 election, because of all the hate I was getting. What happened when I was on Facebook, this is why I'll never, ever use Facebook again, is across my timeline, there was a picture and it had an Antifa guy and it said Antifa on his hat. And he was wearing a scarf and stuff. And he had a cop down on his knees. And he was like, it was a cartoon. And he was cutting this cop's throat. And you could see, blood and stuff coming out. So I flagged it. I reported it and said that it was offensive. And then, so they said they would look into it. Well, then it was like not even 2 days later, they sent me a thing saying they found nothing offensive about the picture, that it was artistic expression. So I said, So I had some people help me, and I took and swapped the two people. I swapped the bodies and made the cop standing up and the Antifa guy down there, and did the exact same thing with the picture. But then I put the other picture next to it. And then I had my channel got in trouble because they said it was offensive. And I said, why is that not artistic expression? Well, because you did it to prove a point with that. And I said, well, yeah, but it still should be the same thing. They're doing the exact same thing, but they wouldn't agree with me. So I just said to Facebook, and I slowly went through and deleted everything, every single thing I ever posted. It took forever. It took weeks. I went all the way down to the very first thing I ever posted and deleted everything. I changed my picture to Bill Clinton in the blue dress from Epstein's apartment in New York, changed my name to Lynn. And then I started posting like just stupid memes about dogs and cats and stuff to print over any of my extra information that I might have left on there, and deleted my account. But guess what? Ever since, I still get emails saying someone's trying to log into your Facebook account. So every so often I go look and it's still there. It says Lynn. It still has the picture. You know why? Because every one of us that left them and deleted our account, they didn't want to lose us. So they left us up there for the numbers for their ad revenue. Because if they have 500,000 people, with this name instead of 5,000, see how the numbers change? They make more money. Because all the Janets are going to see this and all the Lyns are going to see that. See, that's how they sell ads. So screw them. I'm never going to use them again. All my relatives still use it. I don't know why, because he's a lying piece of shit. I mean, he lied under oath when he was went before Congress, and then he's smug and sitting there with all those people at Trump's inauguration. Then he comes out with a $360 million yacht with 8 generator engines, diesel engines. And he's pointing the finger at you and me and saying, we are ruining the planet because of our carbon. Fuck him. That's how I feel about him. I can't stand him. I think he's disgusting. I wouldn't even shake his hand if I saw him walk into a room. I think he's disgusting. And I don't like people like that. I don't care how much money he has. I don't care who he is. The way he treats you and I, like we're just pieces of flint, flick off their jacket. No way. I wouldn't give him the time of day. I would look down at him like he's a plebe. That's how I look at him. Sorry, but that's my opinion, and I have the right to feel this way. And he is scum, as far as I can tell. So I will never use his Facebook again, because I think Facebook is nothing but propaganda. And you guys, everything you do is still on there. I guarantee if every one of you went out and deleted your account, it would still be up tomorrow. It would still be there, because he's not going to let you get rid of you. He's not going to let you shut your stuff down, because he needs you more than you need him. But I'm done for that rant. But thanks for hanging out with me tonight. And I do feel a lot better. My foot's throbbing a little bit right now, and I'll have to go and prop it back up. But hopefully by Tuesday, when I go in for another ultrasound to see if I have any blood clots or anything in my leg, which I'm praying I do not, I'd appreciate if anybody would pray for me to have a good appointment on Tuesday. I'd really appreciate that too. But hope you guys have a wonderful evening. And if you want to hang out and hear me rant about politics, not this stuff, but actual news stuff that's going on in our country, tune in tomorrow night at 9:10 for the Friday Night Shit Show. And no, I'm not going to put ice on it. That's not something they want me to do. They just want me to, I got a thigh high stocking on that's supposed to hold everything in place because it's supposed to help collapse that one vein that they're trying to force my blood to a good vein, because the vein that they was leaking really bad, and it was causing my ankle to swell and stuff because it had faulty valves in it. And so they plugged that one up, and then they're constricting it real tight to force all the blood that was going to that vein into these two other veins. And as long as I keep it constricted long enough, it should collapse that vein like it's supposed to. And then it'd be healthier. I can already tell by looking at my foot for the swelling wise. And it's not really my foot that's wrapped. It's just down to my ankle or a little bit past my ankle bone in that area. But man, before it used to be giant. I mean, it would just get huge. And I'm like, I'm so active, and I can't understand why it swells. Even after laying down all night, my foot would swell up. So it was because it was just filling with blood, and the blood wasn't going back up like it's supposed to because the valves weren't working. They were all like, oh, this limp, not doing anything. So I must have really done something to it. But the thing is, it should be fixed now as long as I do what the doctor says. And when you go to the doctor, listen to them and do what they tell you. Because if they did something to you and they tell you, don't do this, don't do that, drink lots of water, whatever it is, do what you're told. So it does get better, because you can only blame yourself if you don't do what they say. So I'm trying to do everything they told me to do. But thank you so much for hanging out with me. And I hope I didn't drive everybody nuts. But it was nice to get to do this again and to talk about something that I feel is very important. And if there was anything at all that I shared that you thought was important that someone else might need to know, please share it with them. I really appreciate that, because sharing the information is the only way that we can take back what belongs to us, the truth, right? Share it and let other people find out for themselves. But thank you so much, and I hope you guys all have a wonderful evening. Good night.
If you voted for Donald Trump, that means that you stand for everything that is going on in our country right now. That you stand for all these tariffs, that you stand for this mass deportation, that you stand for getting men out of women's sports. I mean, the list goes on and on. You actually stand for this. If you voted for Trump, you actually stand for this. And if you voted for Trump, I just want to say that I love you and thank you so much for saving this country. Have a blessed day.